These are some festive fun. Christmas is coming closer. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog number 337 for Monday, November the 6th, 2023. November's going by fast already. Scary, because then we hit December, and we know what December brings, right? But anyways, let's take a look at what I've been working on. Okay, scrappy cats. So here we go. Now, I do have more of this done. Okay. In fact, I have all the cats done. I have it all sashed up, and it's got borders on it. It's just waiting now for me to throw it on Lucy and to quilt it. I'm going to talk more about Scrappy Cat's pattern because although this is a pretty basic pattern made up of half square triangles, it gave me some problems. So tomorrow I'm going to talk a little bit more about what those problems are and show you my progression through all of this. But right now this is just a little teaser with the kitties, which I know you've already seen before. Okay, moving on. Bloom and Grow. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember if I showed you this one completely finished. I finished it up last week. You know, 1 week runs into the next week when you're quilting, and it's hard to keep track of what it is you do. I should probably keep a daily journal or something of what I have accomplished each day. And I've tried that before, and you know what? It lasts for about 24 hours, and then I don't do it anymore. But anyways, I should. So if I have shown this to you in its entirety before, I apologize, but you know I love it. It is a Stephanie Stitches design, and it's all quilted now, all bound, and it's sitting in a bag. Yeah, well, anyways. Again, this quilt is something that I really enjoyed doing. And yeah, if you've never done a Stephanie Stitches pattern before, you need to check out her website, her Etsy store. And really, they're not expensive. Very well written patterns. Do one. This is the one that I made from my scraps from the shirts that Walter has made me over the last year and a half or so. And I'm going to show you tomorrow a picture that shows you this in more detail. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I love the colors in it, and even more so, and I've had a few people have said this is like a memory quilt. In a sense, it is a memory quilt, memory of my clothes, but if the shirts ever wear out, at least I'll have the quilt showing some of those wonderful fabrics that Walter made the shirts out of. And I'll show you the shirts and the quilt side by side tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. And what else? Well, I've been working on these. These are wine glass charms, Christmas ones. Wine glass slips right in there that sits at the base of the wine glass. And, you know, so people aren't drinking your drink or you're drinking somebody else's, because I don't know about you, but if I'm at a party and I put my glass down somewhere and I come back to get it, I don't remember where exactly I put it. And I have been known to drink somebody else's drink, which, you know, isn't really something you should do in polite society. So I'm making a bunch of these. These are going to be a gift at Christmas time. A set of 4. I'm going to have a set of 4 that has a green, a red, a silver, and a gold in each package. So I've got quite a few more of these to make because I've got about 6 packages to put together, and I want to put a set of these in each one. So yeah, you do the math. It's 24 little suckers I have to make, and they take about an hour a piece. They are freestanding lace, and well, I think there's something a little different. Okay, so that takes me to YouTube channel of the week. All right, I don't like to get political, he says, tongue in cheek, because I do. But you know, this whole thing in the Middle East that's going on right now between the Israelis and the Palestinians, everybody's afraid to talk about it, or people aren't afraid to talk about it, depending on a side they have picked. We have protests going on here in Canada about it. But are many of us that are outside of those two communities, are we really aware of what this conflict is really all about? It is highly political, very confusing. So I found a YouTube channel, JJ McCullough, who is a Canadian who likes to he's a journalist. He does commentary about current events or situations or trends happening in our country and around the world. And he did a really great video where he's very, very objective. He does not pick sides and talks about the whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict and where it stems from and all the different nuances of what it's all about. I found this very educational, very informative, and so that's why I'm going to share it here with you. This week's YouTube is one that is very political. I don't often mention ones that are politically based, but this one I thought was politically based from the standpoint of view of education. And it's called Why the World is Obsessed with Israel and Palestine. And I think this person, JJ McCullough, you've heard me talk about him before. I do enjoy his videos. They're very thoughtful, very informative, sometimes very funny. This one is not a funny video. This is a very serious video, but he tries to put into a clear manner of understanding what the conflict in the Middle East is all about without taking a side, being very neutral, very objective. And I found it very, very enlightening. So right now, given the turmoil that's happening in the Middle East, I think it is important that we understand what the conflict is all about, because we all have opinions about it, but our opinions are not necessarily fact. So if you want to educate yourself a little bit more about the whole conflict that's going on in the Middle East, then I strongly suggest that you check out Why the World is Obsessed with Israel and Palestine by JJ McCullough. So you'll find the link for that YouTube clip in the show notes below. You will also find my contact information, or where to find my contact information, on any of my videos. You'll also find a link to Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, which happens every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And you'll find links to some of my friends' YouTube channels as well. The other links you're going to find, of course, are this past week's videos that I did before for each of my main vlogs. And of course, Stephen and Walter Live is there as well. We got a little carried away. No, we had not been drinking. Well, that's a lie. We only had one beer, and that was during the live. I've been a little worried about the live because I think I insulted a few people, and I didn't mean to. It's just my facetious sense of humor. So if anybody felt a little offended yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live, please know I didn't do that on purpose. It's just my sense of humor got carried away with me, so please don't hate me for that. I don't hate you, okay? Well, I do hate one person, and I mentioned that on the live. You'll have to check it out, see what I'm talking about there. Okay, so let's check what today is like. I know there's been a lot of variations in temperatures across North America, which is normal, right? Some people are still going through almost like heat waves, and other people are getting buried under snow. That's life in North America, right? Well, here in Canada, and right now, as you can see by the weather map, let's just get this in a spot where you can see it better. Here we go. So, current temperature right now is 6 degrees Celsius. That's warm. Okay, yeah, 6 degrees Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit? Well, if you want a quick way to figure out roughly what a Celsius measurement is in Fahrenheit, take the Celsius number, double it, add 30. So, if it's 6 degrees Celsius here right now, that means that 6 and 6 is 12, plus 30 makes it 42 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly. Give or take a degree or two, but it gives you a ballpark figure. So yeah, that isn't below freezing, but it's not really, let's get out there in shorts and a tank top and get a tan kind of weather. And that's pretty much what we would expect this time of the year. I know we've been having some unseasonable highs and some unseasonable lows, but all of weather's basically based on statistics, right? From one year to the next year and that kind of thing. So, you know, we sometimes forget that this is Mother Nature at work, and we have no control really over it. So, light rain is forecast today. Yay, 70% chance of it. But it doesn't look like it's going to come until about late this afternoon, around 4 p.m., maybe. Sun is setting earlier, 4:59 sunset. Yes, the clocks went back here in my area in Ontario and other parts of North America too. Went back an hour on Sunday, very early Sunday morning, 2 a.m. So it means that we're hitting light a little earlier, but we're getting darker a little bit earlier too. So sure sign that we're moving towards winter. We're still in fall, by the way, although a lot of people like to say we're in winter now. But technically, winter isn't until the 21st of December. So this is fall. And the rest of the week's looking, well, cloudy. 60% chance of rain on Thursday. And the temperatures, it looks like today and tomorrow are going to be the warmest days of the week. Highs of 11. And again, in Fahrenheit, that would be 11 plus 11 is 22, and 30, that would be 52 degrees Fahrenheit. So, that's the weather in my world right now, and nothing unusual about that. Okay, let's see if I can get out of this and go over here, and there we are. And speaking of colder weather, well, we had our first snowfall. It wasn't much. In fact, it's more like little tiny ice pellets that melted as soon as they hit the ground. But I thought you'd like to see it, so I'm just going to put a little video clip in here right now for you. Well, it's October 31st, Halloween, and we're getting snow. It doesn't look like it's going to stay. It's pretty wet and kind of more like pellets, snow pellets, than snow. It's melting as soon as it hits, but first bit of snow for the year, early. Okay, so that takes me to what's pissing me off this week. Well, on Stephen and Walter Live, we did a whole thing about stupid Halloween tricks. And that whole discussion was spurred from something I saw on one of those Neighbors apps where several people were complaining that they left their big bowl of candy out on their front step for the kids to help themselves, and they were shocked and surprised that, and they have it on their Ring cameras, that some kid came up and stole the whole bowl. Took all the candy and the bowl itself too. Well, what do you expect? And that's what we talked about yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live. But let's extend stupid human tricks a little bit further. We do a lot of stupid things and then complain about it when we get robbed. We have our car stolen, our car broken into, things taken from our front porches, our front steps of our house. And let's think about what we are doing. First of all, what's one of the stupid things? And this is definitely a negative thought. Some people are stupid because they trust other people. There, I said it. Yeah, what do I mean by that? Well, if you live in a big urban center, things have changed over the years, over many years. It's no longer everybody knows everybody else that lives on their street or in their town. Maybe not even next door. I know for myself, I know my next door neighbors, but I don't talk to them a lot. One side more so than the other side. And we've all lived here for years. It isn't like they just moved in. And why is that? Well, I think it's because in today's world, there is a natural distrust built into us about anybody that we don't know well or we're just meeting for the first time. We put up a caution. And that caution means keep your distance. You don't want to be too friendly because you can't trust these people. But we have people in our society who are very, very trusting. I'm one of those people. I'll take somebody usually by their word. If I'm meeting somebody for the first time, unless they do something or say something that makes me suspicious, I will usually give them the benefit of the doubt and trust them. And that's maybe a stupid thing to do. Maybe, and it's a horrible thing to say, but maybe we need to keep up our guard, 24/7. Because we have lots of examples where people are being that way, trusting. Like these people who left their candy on the front doorstep. You really think kids are going to be that polite. Look at this. What's Halloween? It's all about as much candy as you can grab. Okay? It's a stupid holiday. It's not even a holiday. It's a night. It's stupid. That's the way I feel about it. And I think we're being stupid by giving out candy anyways to kids. All kinds of chemicals and that stuff, sugar and whatnot. That's really good for them. But in the meantime, you put the big bowl out. What do you expect? It's going to be stolen. But people are talking about their cars being stolen in their neighborhood. Well, yeah, because sometimes you hear, and not sometimes, more than sometimes, like a lot. I forgot to lock the doors on my car, and it was gone. Well, I had all this stuff in the back seat of my car, a baby carrier in there. I had packages that I hadn't unloaded yet and taken into the house. I had money sitting there. I left my wallet in the car, that kind of stuff. Well, those are temptations. Like the kids seeing the Halloween candy on the front porch, unguarded. Temptation. And for these thieves, that's what they're looking for. In a lot of cases, they're young people that are doing it. And when I say young people, I mean in their 20s down into their teens. And they see a wallet, they see money, they see something desirable in the car, a DVD player, oh, how last century, a cell phone or something like that. Yeah. And if you've left your car unlocked, who's the stupid one? Easy access. Okay, then you're going to say, yeah, but the car is locked. And they bust into it anyways. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. The cars that they're stealing are the high-end cars. Do you need a high-end car? Do you? Really? A car's main purpose is to get you from point A to point B. In my case, I drive a vintage vehicle, 2008 Honda, still in great shape. But it doesn't have the buzzers and bells that cars have on them today. No one would look at my car sideways. I could leave the keys sitting on the hood of the car. And they'd go, yeah, don't think so. Too old. However, Walter has a really nice car. First, really, the nicest car he's ever had in his life. After he had the accident, he indulged. Okay? And that is fine. But where does Walter keep his car? In the garage, locked up. He bought an extra level of security. The car has trackers on it, and the car cannot start unless you have a code, and the code is put in a very secretive manner. It's not a keyboard where you punch in numbers. He paid a lot of money to have that put in the car, and my car got kicked out of the garage and put onto the driveway now because, like I said, no one would want it. So yeah, but he's being smart because we have high car thefts in our area. And his car is one of the desirable models that they like to steal as well. But other people, just like they're flaunting it. They've got it sitting out in their driveway. They've got it loaded inside with lots of desirable objects. And then they forget to lock it. Or here's something that's even more stupid. Yeah, I just ran into the house for a minute and I left the car running. No. These thieves can get a car in under 15 seconds. Especially if, look at the temptation. Oh, look, unlocked running car. No one around. Yay, bye. So that's a stupid thing to do. I guess what I'm saying is if we want to protect ourselves in this modern age where we can't trust anybody, we have to use common sense. It doesn't mean that you won't be a victim, because you could still be, but you could make it a little bit more difficult for somebody else to make you a victim if you just use common sense. Home security. Everybody's got them now, or should have. If you don't have one, get one. You need to have surveillance cameras. It is sad. It is very sad that we have to be suspicious of everyone. Somebody coming up on your doorstep with a pan of brownies, welcome you to the neighborhood. Wait. Got you on surveillance camera. Those brownies are probably poisoned, and you want to break into my house. Sad to say that is probably how some people's minds work. And because if you've ever been burned by somebody robbing your house or whatever, damaging your property, yeah, you probably are suspicious. So common sense says we need to protect ourselves the best we can. We have to make it more difficult for thieves to get at us. Now, some of you might live in small rural areas where, you know, the old days, and I don't know if any place exists like this anymore, where they say, I never lock my doors at night. Well, you know, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice to live in that kind of world? Of course, we'd have to go back in time to about 1850 and live on a farm. Yeah. So, stupid human tricks. We are our own worst enemies, I think, at times. We need to protect ourselves as best we can. It doesn't mean that we have to look around every corner, check behind us walking down the street every 5 steps, and stuff like that. Well, maybe we do. I don't know. But it's food for thought. Just don't be a victim. Use common sense and don't do stupid things. And no guarantee that that's 100% fail-safe, but it's better than nothing. Okay, let's move on, shall we, to new products. Yes, I bought some Accuquilt stuff. I'll just show it to you here once I get the screen up. So I needed some storage. That's the one thing about Accuquilt systems, okay? They do take up a lot of room. I have not a bookshelf, a whole alcove in my sewing room that is pretty much all Accuquilt dies. And they come in great little boxes, very well built, sturdy. I've talked about that before. And keeps them all very organized. And I have bought other boxes as well for some of the dies that don't come in boxes. Well, some of the longer dies, like these ones you're seeing in this picture right here, these don't come in a box. And I have them sort of piled up in a corner you can see to the right of the picture. But they do have these racks. So I bought one of these racks for the taller ones. And it fits very nicely right in that spot. So they're close by when I need them, but at the same time, I'm not going to be tripping over them. I also bought these boxes. Now, the ones that say 6x12 on them, you can see there's labels on them already. I have dies in those, and I've had those for a while. But I bought one for the 10-inch by 10-inch dies because I didn't really have a box for those. So I bought one, and I can get, I think I can get 3 10x10s in each one of those sections, 2 anyways. So 4 to 6 dies. So that's great, and it fits right there on my shelf. Very neat and tidy. And I labeled them on the outside to keep them there. But yeah, now if I buy any more dies, I'm running out of places to put them. But I have ideas for that. I can, yeah, I'll find space, put it that way. So that was my latest acquisition, latest buys. Yeah, words fail me. Okay, so that takes me to the grow lights. Well, things are getting a little gnarly under the grow lights, as you can see here by our lettuce. This is grow light number 1. This is still edible lettuce, but it gets to a point where you just have to dig up what's left and replant because it goes weird. And you can see there's nothing wrong with this. It just looks bad. Of course, some of it's going brown too. You don't eat the brown stuff. But this is what lettuce should be looking like. This is a new crop of lettuce coming up from seed. And over to the right-hand side, you can see our basil. Or basil, whichever way you want to say it. It's coming up as well. And I love to throw fresh basil into a salad when I make a salad. So here we've got our greens, got our basil, and we have our peppers and our onions. The onions are doing really well. I'm not sure. I think some of these onions were outside. Walter brought them in, and I think he planted some more. They're doing well. You can see over in the left at the bottom in the little pot, we have more basil. When I get enough of it, I'll make some more fresh pesto. And our peppers are doing really well. And if you notice in the really back corner, you can see some purple ones. These are weird. I have to do more research about these peppers because these ones come up purple, but if they stay on, if we don't pick them for quite a while, they will start to turn green and red. So, and you can see there one peeking up, it's starting to turn a little green. And then we have some orangey colored peppers, and we've got red peppers. So it's fascinating. I didn't know this about peppers. But it seems, at least these variety we have, and don't ask me what that variety is, that they don't just grow green. They may come out purple, they may come out green, but if you leave them longer, they'll start to turn other colors. We have some yellow ones at the back, which eventually those are going to become more like red or orange. And here's something else I'm finding. We do not pick a whole bunch of them at once. We pick what we need to use at that point when we need to use them. When we went to the grocery store, I'd buy several peppers. I would throw them in the vegetable crisper in the refrigerator, and there they'd sit. But eventually, if I didn't use them up, they'd, rot, basically, or get mold on them or something like that. So there have been times when I have thrown out perfectly good peppers because I didn't get around to using them. And you know what the price of peppers are like right now. So that's a waste of money. I leave these on the vine until I need to use them, and I'll use the ones that have been the oldest on the vine to start with. They're getting to be looking a little punky. Like I'm looking here in this picture, and I'm not sure if it's the light, but that red one that's closest in the foreground of the picture looks to me like it might be getting a little puckery in a spot. So that's one that I'll be picking first and using up this week. And they just keep growing. Yeah. Now I don't see any flowers on here, and it's not like one plant will perpetually produce fruit, but while those ones are happening, we plant more seeds and get those going. So it's just an ongoing kind of thing, and we have it down now pretty much to a science for peppers. And the onions are probably the new crop. We didn't really do onions successfully under the grow lights, but we may have started them too late. They did well outside, and hopefully these are looking like they're doing very well inside. So now I've got lettuce and basil and peppers and onions for salads. So what more do I need? Tomatoes. Now we don't have any tomatoes right now growing, and I think Walter's decided that he's not going to bother growing tomatoes. I don't know. I think we should look into if we could find a variety of tomato that would do okay under the grow lights, and that's a really small, bushy kind of thing, so it doesn't grow immensely tall, because that's the problem with some tomatoes. I thought I had gotten something called dwarf tomato plants last year from Amazon. They said they would grow 12 to 18 inches. Well, no, those tomatoes just kept going to, well, they were like Jack and the Beanstalk. So I don't know. I may have to do a little bit more investigation and see what's there that I could grow. Ideally, I'd love a tomato plant that looks more like a little bush, very short. Maybe it spreads out a little bit in width, but not in height, and produces, little tomatoes. That would be nice. So, yeah, the garden is doing well. Okay, so that takes me to 3D printing. Have I been printing anything new? Yes, I have. Okay, so I did a search to see if I could find anything that had a quilt pattern kind of a thing on it. Well, I did. There wasn't lots. This was about the only two things I could find. The big one, though, that one will make a great coffee mat or coaster. I've tested it because it is plastic with a hot cup of coffee. Let it sit there with a hot cup of coffee till the coffee cooled down to room temperature. Didn't put a mark on it, didn't stick to it, nothing. So the plastic can handle that, and I figured it would. Because after all, you're melting down the filament at 180, 190 degrees C or more. You don't usually have your coffee at that temperature. So I've made a couple of these. They're going to be gifts. And the little one with the looks like a key ring, well, actually they do call it a key ring. It's kind of big for a key ring. However, I got thinking, well, and I'll show you the back of it. I put my idiot quilter business card on it, but I ordered from Amazon some, I'm not sure, bobbin holders. Like, if you've got a bobbin that's wound, you can put it in this little holder and it keeps the thread from coming off and use it for storage. So I ordered a package of these things, 100 of them, and my idea is I'm going to put 4 or 5 of them on one of these rings, and people can use them that I give them to because they're all sewers, all quilters. Put some of their bobbins on it, and because it's got the big, it's fairly, it's not huge, but it's about a little bigger than a business card. They can throw that in a drawer or hang it up somewhere handy and keep their bobbins organized. That's my theory anyways. Walter thinks it's stupid. Oh well, too bad. I mean, really, there's a lot of things I do that Walter thinks are stupid. But I do them anyways. So, that's what I've been up to. And I do have anything else on here to show you? No, that's it on that. So let's go back to me. Okay. So, what's next? Yeah, Melbourne. This is part 1 of day 6 in Melbourne in 2018.
Okay, so today, to start off with, we went down and got tickets for a riverboat cruise that happens in about an hour. So in the meantime, we're going to go through the ACMI, which is the Australian, what's it stand for? Australian Cinema something. I don't know, something to do with movies. Anyway, so that's where we're going right now. Cinema Museum, that's it. Okay. Hello.
You have one of the 3 questions?
Yeah, we've got one. Yeah, the same one that's upstairs in the back. That's my good.
Okay. You just do an idea for that.
Okay, great.
Okay,
thank you.
Enjoy.
What's that? Like a oscilloscope?
It shows you the thing rotating. Mechanical television based on
Laser disc.
Yeah, see, the camera is pointing at the block, right?
Yeah.
And when it's doing is it's sending it through the air, and it gives you the lines of the television. So you look through there.
Oh, I see. This is an homage to Dame Edna. I don't know how many of you know who Dame Edna is, but she's a character, Australian character, very famous worldwide, comedian. Has had numerous television shows out of Australia and Britain, I think.
Oh, this dress is Kylie Minogue.
Is what?
Kylie Minogue.
Oh, Kylie Minogue.
That one's Dame Edna.
Oh, that's Dame Edna's dress. Okay. Screaming dress. And she's always famous for the gladiolas that she throws at the audience. And we're about to start the river cruise. Walter looking excited.
Bounce on the way back. Does anyone like the sport rowing?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
Other people do it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Is there a good reason why people don't like it though? Because the majority wins here. I tell you what I love about it, they travel in a direction they're not watching. So especially when all of this is happening around here, it can be quite frustrating. But Melbourne is actually renowned for having a long-standing history of rowing. Melbourne is responsible for the Awesome Foursome, which are the four athletes that won consecutive gold medals between Barcelona in 1992, Atlanta in 1996 and Sydney 2000. They came from here. And how do you make Olympic rowers on the Yarra River, you may ask? Well, we motivate them. They do very well on their own accord. And it looks like an Olympic button of some sort is being marched around here. Can you see that over there? And the lady holding something in her hand as she jogs away. Now, one of the biggest rowing regattas in the world is known as the Henley-on-the-Thames. Does anyone know this one?
Yes.
Okay, for those that do. Here in Melbourne, we have a replica event called the Henley-on-the-Yarra. Being a British colony, they didn't put too much thought into a really decent name change. And up ahead on the right, we have one of the only judges' box here in Melbourne for the finishing line for all the rowing races held here. This was built to commemorate the oarsmen who served for Australia in World War One. From this point to the next bend in the river is exactly 1 nautical mile, or the final stretch of any rowing race. A lot of private schools do have their rowing sheds on the banks of the Yarra, as you may have already noticed.
And that takes me to events in the past week. Well, of course, we had Halloween. We didn't have many kids. As I said on Stephen and Walter Live yesterday, what I usually do is I'll put all my candy in a bowl. I'll count out how much is there. And then as the night goes on, after everything's over, I dump the candy that's left in the bowl out, count it up, and I know exactly how many kids I had. And guess what I didn't do? I intend to do that, except I got overzealous in putting things away, and so I just dumped the whole bowl right back into the box with all the other candy that was there and didn't count it. So I have no idea how many kids we had. I don't think we had more than 30. Walter thinks we had about 40. So we have agreed to disagree. But either way, it wasn't a lot. It was boring. Again, this giving out candy at Halloween is so last century. It's time to do something different, like parties, community family parties, kind of a thing where the kids come, show off their costumes. There's safe treats for them there, and it's just a social event for a couple of hours on Halloween night or something like that, or the weekend before. But, you know, I don't have the power to change this tradition. So there you go. Although I think a lot of people are doing that kind of thing now, too. And on Sunday, I had my first men's sew day. It was an experiment. We didn't have a huge crowd, but we didn't have a bad turnout. I think at the height of it, there were 10 of us. And we talked a little bit about that on Stephen and Walter Live, too. If you didn't see Stephen and Walter Live, check out the replay, because there's a whole lot of interesting things going on there, he says, as he tries to entice you. The men's sew day was kind of nice, so it was enough of a success in my mind, and from what I heard from the other guys that were there, that we're going to do it again. And I think we're going to do it the first Sunday of every month. So the next one, I believe, works out to be December the 3rd, and we just do it from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a come as you go. It's very relaxed. There's no set schedule or projects or anything like that. You just bring what you want to work on. Definitely a different type of atmosphere than when I have a general sew day that involves, 99% ladies. Less talk, but we did talk. It's totally different. And I got a lot accomplished. And the other gentlemen were telling me the same thing. So yeah, if you are a gentleman sewer, quilter, or for that matter, even a crafter of some sort, and you'd like a little time to work with like-minded fellows, then send me an email and I'll put you on the mailing list. So you'll get the announcement of the next one, as I said, December the 3rd, and you'll get the Zoom link, because it's a Zoom. It's not a live. It's not a YouTube live. It's a Zoom private group. So yeah, all guys are welcome. Sorry, girls. Okay, and what else is coming up? Well, we're going to a party. And I've talked about this before. A friend of ours is turning 60. She's decided to have a big bash. She's got a rented hall. I think she's got a DJ, a bar, food. And so we've been working on some gifts for her as well. And I've shown those to you in past videos. Walter right now is just finishing up our shirts for the occasion. She's doing this party as a theme. It's the 1960s. And Walter showed how far he's gotten with the shirts on live yesterday. And they're retro. The fabric he was able to get his hands on from Spoonflower. They're retro, and well, they're a Walter shirt, so they'll look good no matter what. So we're all ready for that party. I haven't been to a party. I said to Walter the other day, when was the last time we were at a party, like a party? I can't think of when it is. So I'm actually a little apprehensive about this. I mean, we'll only know a few people, but it should be lots of fun. Hey, it's a night out. What could be bad about that, right? Nothing. Okay, so that's it for today. Tune in for Idiot Quilter tomorrow and So Chatty on next Friday. We do have a topic for next Friday because we didn't get to this topic on the past Friday. So we're going to talk about how do you find things on the internet? Because I get a lot of people asking me about things that I've shown on my videos, and if I didn't put in a link for them, they seem to be at a loss to where to go to find them. So we're going to give you some tips and tricks and things that we do to find things when we need to find them on the internet. And of course, Stephen and Walter live next Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time as always. So I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you later on. Bye for now.